Hello and welcome to Remote University. We are all about learning videos. If you are here first time, please subscribe to our channel. If you are an existing subscriber, welcome back. Let's get into the video. Thank you. In this video, we're going to cover about severity versus priority in the software testing lifecycle. I'm sure if you are already into software development or especially into software testing area, you might have come across these two terms when you are dealing with defects or bugs. So let's see what's the difference between severity versus priority, and also let's individually see what exactly the severity and the priority is and how they have been used and how they have been treated in the life cycle. Yes, you might be familiar with the software development life cycle where these are the activities what we are seeing on the screen, like planning, requirements, design, development, testing, and then deployment and maintenance happens. During this software development life cycle, whenever we test something after the development is complete, that will go through the validation phase. And in the validation, if the tester or the person who is acting as a testing resource, if they come across any discrepancies against the requirements what were defined in the application are not matching with the outcome of the development, then they will result into defects. So those defects are sometimes named as bugs within the software that is being produced, the piece of code that is being written to do some activity of the application or the product. Then we will log the defects as a testing resource. So during this process, depending on your company or the team, you might be using some of the standard defect management tools like Jira, HP Quality Center, or ALM, or Bugzilla, any of the standard tools you might be using where you log a defect. This is where the severity and priority comes into picture. So once the defect is logged into this tool, the defect needs to be allocated with a specific severity and priority. So during the software testing lifecycle, once the phase starts, the testing might be done manually with the humans, or it can be done through scripts, which is automated. In either way, if the expected behavior is not matching with the outcome of the application which was given to the testing team, then we'll log a defect. So the defects are logged in one of the defect tracking system where we are expected to set the severity of the defect, because we need to let the project team or application team know how severe the issue that we are seeing in the application. So this is where the testers are expected to set the severity of the defect. When you log a defect, we need to set the severity of the defect. And this severity is categorized into 4 levels. So this is again depending on the impact of the issue, what you are seeing, which is resulting on a application business or the functionality. So let's take an example of a application where you have a login as a feature within the application. You're trying to log in with your account and you are unable to, which is totally terminating your flow. So here we call that as critical. So there is no alternative, you are totally blocked. So this one is categorized as critical defect. Let's take the same example where your application has three types of user accounts where you are able to log in with one of them, but other types are not functioning. So here, at least the termination of flow is happening with some alternatives. So here you can call it as major defect, which is blocking some of the account types to log in. And then let's take the similar example where you are trying to log in and the login is working, but you're seeing some kind of behavior of slowness, or like the application is logging you, but once you log in, the application is hanging somewhere, and then after some time, you're being taken to the home page. In this example, you can log that behavior as moderate or medium severity defect. Here, the result is not termination but causing some incorrect behavior of the or incomplete or inconsistent results of the application, which we call it as medium defect. And when you are trying to log in, let's say the button where you are clicking after entering ID and password, which is supposed to say login login, but you are seeing there is an additional n in that after the login as the word, which is a spelling mistake there. So that can be set as a low severity defect, which is not causing any impact of your functionality or the business, but which is something needs to be fixed. So this can be categorized as low severity defect. We have seen how the severity is being set when the defect is filed. So the severity is determined based on the business impact. So the testing team or the business team who is looking after that project will assign the severity. Once the defects are identified and logged during the testing cycle, there is a process which is being followed to prioritize these defects, because every defect cannot be fixed in a day. So they need to be prioritized. So what happens is the project lead or a project manager who is running the show will conduct a defect prioritization meeting. So they will review each and every defect and set the priority. So this is again how quickly the defect needs to be fixed will be the criteria will be followed to set the priority. So during this process, like again, the priority is categorized into four levels. One is critical, second one is high, third one is medium, fourth one is low. So if the defect is required to be immediately fixed because testing team is blocked, they cannot proceed until this defect is resolved, then they will assign critical priority for the defect. And as we discussed, if the defect which is reported is required to be resolved, but it is only impacting some areas of the project where testing team or the business team who is doing the validation still has some more runway to test, then they will assign high priority to these defects, which are required to be fixed by, for example, by end of the day or by tomorrow morning. And then there could be some defects which are not blocking the functionality or causing any impact for the execution, but they need to be fixed as soon as possible. Like the logo is missing, so some images are broken in the page, something like that. So those are categorized as medium. And also there could be some defects which are grammatical fixes required, or some UI alignment needs to be refined to make it look much better. So those can be kind of like a good to have or nice to have, can be categorized as low priority. So again, like the defect has two types of priority is being set. One is from the testing or business team, other one is from the project or dev team. So business is saying like how severely they're impacted, whereas the project or dev team is saying how quickly the defect needs to be fixed in order to let the testing team to continue the testing. So based on these two different criteria, so the defect severity and priority will be set with in the project. Since we saw the defect can have two values, severity as well as priority based on the type of the defect, let's see how they both can be compared. So within the same defect, if I am setting a severity and priority, depending on how severe the defect is, depending on how quickly that needs to be resolved, the defect might have high or critical severity. At the same time, it can have low priority. For example, the image which is the logo is missing on the page, which is the high severity for the business, but at the same time, it can be a low priority for the developers because it's not blocking anything for the testing. We can still continue some of the remaining functionality. Whereas, let's say, as we discussed, the spelling mistakes or any grammar to be corrected, which can have low severity and low priority within the application, which can wait. And some defects can be high severity and high priority, like you're trying to log in where login is working for one type of account, but other type of accounts are blocked. They need to be fixed as soon as possible, like in the same day, in the next few hours. So those are categorized as high severity as well as high priority for the dev team. Both the sides agree that it's a high priority. And there could be very low severity defects which are not causing any impact to the testing team or business, but dev might have high priority. So again, as you see, so the priority and severity are relative. It again depends on the team you are working in. From the testing side, we use severity. From the project or development side, they use priority. Thanks for watching. Please support our channel by liking or commenting or subscribing to our channel if you are new and coming to our channel first time. Thank you. Thanks again for watching.